Hello, DV editing people. It is screencast for Thursday, March 6th, the day after we did some upgrades. And one of the upgrade reasons was for primarily GarageBand. We were a little behind on things. I'm sure I've talked about this already as far as software updates being 6 months behind, in my opinion, is behind far enough. Anyhow, the new GarageBand has a lot more to pick from, a lot more to offer you. So I'm assuming you've watched the two chase scenes that I posted on my lesson plan page. And the idea here is that we learn how to use GarageBand to string some clips together and learn how to do some things with a little bit of focus. And we're trying to learn how to do a basic chase scene in GarageBand. So I'm going to get it started with GarageBand, the new version, and it's fresh to me too. So I'm sure I'm going to make some mistakes along the way. But the purpose of the screencast is to teach you how to string some things together, maybe make some basic edits, and then kind of let you go and try to get you to the point where you can take some of these built-in instruments, built-in loops and stuff, and learn to sequence them together and try to find kind of a theme here with your music. So anyhow, let's you can follow along with this. You can pause it as needed, but really I'm just going to string together a couple clips, and yours are going to differ. Yours aren't going to match mine. But the theme here is that we try to create 30 seconds of a basic chase scene. And think about some of those instruments that you heard in a couple of those samples. So anyhow, let's launch GarageBand. At least I launched GarageBand. And it opens the last thing I did here. I don't think yours is going to do that. So why don't we go back to this point? And it's a little bit different from the standpoint of the start page. I think for us, the best place to start is to go with an empty project. But what I would think about is from details right here, you can change your tempo. And by default, the tempo looks like it's at about 120. And, you saw the same thing I saw. You heard the same thing I heard. I don't think I'd leave this at 120, right? If that's the average, the generic start place, I think what I'm going to do is bring this up to not something drastic, but maybe 150. So at least maybe even more, maybe 160. Your mileage may vary, and I know you can change this later on, but chase scenes are typically pretty quick. And I'm not going to change the key signature or any of these other things right now. I'm going to leave that as is. So yours doesn't have to match mine identical, but anyhow, that's what I'm going to go with. So when you create your new project, it looks like you have some choices. You can choose from software instruments that you play sounds from your Mac, and that's kind of the place I'd like to start. We're not going to hook up instruments in class, at least not today, but I wouldn't rule it out. Anyhow, we're going to do a create here, and I'm going to have to make my window a little bit smaller. Sorry, couldn't resist. Notice when you start, you get a default classic electric piano. That's fun. Electric piano track, and your tracks are laid out differently. I'm going to make mine a little bit smaller so it fits totally inside the screencast here. And so the layout isn't that much different. You have a library over here. Since I'm on a laptop right now, I'm probably going to just jet up here and close this library. And now the interface takes a lot similar look to what I'm used to. I've got my tracks over here. I've got my timeline here. And then, my transport controls up here for playing the music. And I've got the same kinds of things as far as, up at the top, my beats per minute and stuff. What I was looking for, having a senior moment here, was I wanted to change this display mode to show seconds instead of beats and measures and stuff. So I was just going to click up here, and there it goes. Intuitive. It's the first time I did it, truth be told. So now I go to time, and now I know where my 30-second mark is. So the goal here is that we make a 30-second clip that has kind of a chase scene theme to it. So I'll leave that up there for now, but let's focus our attention more at this little, looks like a roller coaster. It's called the Apple Loops browser. And this is where a beginner starts. First of all, if you look down at the bottom, okay, some of them are dimmed out. And the ones that are dimmed out are ones that we're not going to have right now because we're not going to shell out money for 1,500 extra loops, okay? The ones you have are plenty. So anyhow, when you want to play a given loop, all you do is click on it. This is called auditioning. Me being the 70s music fan that I am, that is a nice little start for auditioning my music. But up at the top, you can filter out the music based on some kind of criteria. So, for example, if you wanted to start off with percussion, there's your percussion. And, again, the ones that are dimmed out are ones we can't use. You're going to notice a change in color in some of them. Eventually, you're going to find some that are not blue like this. More on that later. So this is called auditioning. Take a few minutes and go through some of these. And I'm going to have to try a guitar here. Slide guitar, that's dimmed out. That must be one you have to pay for. But if I go through, and you can really see that tempo playing through here. By the way, the tempo can be adjusted up at the top. I'm sure you saw that. Okay. Up at the top here, I saw before a little indicator for changing tempo. So I don't see it right now, but I'm sure we could probably figure that part out. But I'm going to stick with the tempo I have. And anyway, what you're going to want to do is sample some of these and then decide what kinds of sounds do you hear in a typical chase scene. And so therefore, if you thought that you heard strings in a chase scene, then you'd want to audition some of these strings. Wow, that sounded like something I might use. So if you chose that one, all you'd have to do to put this into your soundtrack is to drag it from here and drop it up underneath the one that already exists, and it'll create a track for you. I'm going to take the existing one and delete it. And the way that you do that, when it's selected like this, you hit Command and then the delete key, and that gets rid of a track. I'm sure the old delete key trick doesn't work. So then to audition your track, sorry, it's a little bit loud. And you can see clearly here that, you've got a little volume slider that you can adjust your track volume. I can't help it. I don't like that metronome, so I got to get rid of that. Where is the metronome in this new version? Track, record, mix. You know what? You can look and help. M-E-T-R-O, metronome. Okay, not as easy up here. To be continued, but at some point I'd like to hide that. I don't like the metronome clicking when I play my music. So in the new version, it wasn't as obvious as to where you go to hide that metronome. Okay, count in, now track. Just looking for the word metronome. Maybe they took it out of a menu and just placed it in a little clickable area. So I'm going to is this metronome right here? Nope, catch playhead. All right, to be continued. I'll probably figure that out before I stop here. But anyhow, the point of the lesson is to teach you how to string one together. And add to this the fact that if you point to the upper right-hand corner of any given region, you can stretch that region bigger and add to it by a series of measures or as many as you want. On the flip side, if you want to take away, well, I think it works either way. Yeah, in the old version, the one you were using before, you used to have to drag in the bottom to take away. I guess they fixed that, so you can add or take away from by just dragging from the right edge. Okay. What if you wanted to take a loop and entirely duplicate it? If I just hide my browser for now, my loop browser, if you take a region and hold the Option key on your keyboard, you can drag a duplicate. And they're seamless. So when you kind of snap them together here, I don't see a real snapping feature in here. That's something I'm going to want to investigate. I like, the Final Cut has that snapping feature. I'm sure there's something. What if I look up snapping up here? Snap to grid. Okay, I found it. Doesn't give me an option here. So I got a little bit of work to do here too. I'm going to want to learn how to snap this. There it goes. Maybe it was just me being uncoordinated with a trackpad instead of a mouse. But, oop, I just selected a region right there. I don't want to just play back a region. So now when I play this, you'll see that it's seamless when it gets to this cut point. That's the beauty of Apple's loops here. They are seamless. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, the track region, so I have more for my timeline on a tiny little laptop here. And then I'm going to go back into the loops browser and find other things that I might want to use. By the way, you can search by instrument. I'm sure you noticed over here that you can also kind of filter these out by feeling. So if you wanted something intense, these are the intense clips. I might have to break down and buy these because, I see a lot of toys in here and I tend to spend money on the whim here. So what is your crispy wobble bass? Not what I had in mind, but you can also say, I want intense percussion or beats. So if I go to beats, now I have intense beats only. And then, you kind of just got to get a feel for what you're trying to do here. Okay, that's very 70s, like I'm watching a Starsky and Hutch show or something. But let's say I want that. So you can place this wherever you want it. And I got a new track, so I place it underneath the existing track, and then you can make your percussion come in whenever you want. So maybe I want this to come in at 0, and then these guys to come in a little bit later, just a hair later. So I got a little bit of this kind of sound. That's probably too soon here. Okay, maybe I want it to start at the same time. Nice too. Did you notice this? There's no render. I mean, you just add. You got to have a computer with some firepower, but this is awesome. You can string together your clips, no render, listen to them in real time. Ooh, I like it. So might just string that one out here and keep building here. So when this screencast is over, I'm going to keep playing. This is fun. I'm in a chase scene right now. The other thing you can do, you don't have to have them all playing at the same time. You can do this too. What if I want some guitars or some synths? Okay, some intense synths, Sunbeam synth. Not what I had in mind. Pleasant? No, I don't think I'm gonna audition that one. Mega Anthem synth. This is fun. Now that one, chords aplenty. If you're not having fun with this, something's wrong. Aftershock. All right, well, in the sake of trying to save some time here, all I want to illustrate is that you can put a chunk or a region here, and then you can do the option drag thing. So if I option drag it, I don't have to play it immediately after. I can space it out. So now I get this kind of thing, right? And this is a cool thing too. This wasn't probably for a little further up, but you can take a track here and adjust its overall volume level. So, if you don't want to hear the synth quite as loud, you can dim that part down and say I want a little bit more beat. So the beat goes up, and then of course it's done in real time. Oh, you don't want that. I know that from experience with Final Cut, and you probably do too. You don't want to be yellow lining, red lining stuff. So whoops, bring the playhead back. Man, oh man, we're going to have so much fun in here with this. So anyhow, the object of the game here is for you to try to create 30 seconds of chasing. Have some fun with it. We'll take a look at it. There is no Edmodo quiz after this. This is kind of a funsy here, so maybe we'll have you share some of your work on the projector on Friday. Have a little fun Friday for your hard work this week. So, all right, sports fans, have some fun. Adios.